Alright, example B says Mrs. Reynolds creates a graph of the number of students who have birthdays in the first half of the year. Okay, so like I said earlier with bar graphs, I think a really good idea is to put the totals at the top of each bar, or in this case at the end of it since it's a horizontal one. Okay, so it's very important that you look at it and make sure that you get the number right. If you get the wrong total, then you're not going to be able to get any of the other problems correct. So with these, you can zoom in, or it's just a picture. You can click it and drag it and make it bigger, whatever you need to do to make sure that you get the numbers right. So for January, it is at 16. For February, it's at 10. For March, 18. April 15, May 5, and June 11. Okay, so number 1 says determine the total number of students. Okay, so it didn't tell us. It's nice whenever they do tell us, but this one didn't, so that means that we have to add all these numbers up. Okay, so if it is easier for you to add just 2 numbers at a time and then add all that up, definitely do that. However, you need to add to make sure that you get the number correct. And if you do it correctly, it should come out to 75. Now, whenever you're doing a your turn problem, if you add all the numbers up and you get a number that's just one number away from something that makes sense, like let's say you get 49. Chances are you may have miscounted and it was supposed to be 50. So make sure if you get something like 49 or 51, go back and double check, because they aren't very likely to make it 49 or 51. Okay, problem number 2 says if this is a representative sample of the entire 450 students 7th grade, then how many students would have birthdays in February? This is a prediction, which is a proportion. Prediction, proportion. This is just like that car example from a while back. You need to use the information that you have. Since it's talking about February, then you look in the graph for February and make a proportion with that. February had 10 out of a total of, we just found our total is 75. So it's 10 out of 75. And we want to know how many that would be out of our new total of 450. So you make your proportion, and now we need to solve it. I don't have enough room right there, so I'm going to come over here and do it. I have 10 over 75 equals x over 450. Proportions, you can do a lot of different ways. You could go straight into cross-multiplying and dividing. You could simplify first and then cross-multiply and divide. You could look for relationships. There's a lot of different ways that you could do it. On this one, first thing I see is that I can simplify this because they're both divisible by 5. Anytime it ends in a 0 or a 5, that means it's divisible by 5. 10 divided by 5 is 2, and 75 divided by 5 is 15. So I have 2 over 15 equals x over 450. Now, there is a relationship there, but most of you probably wouldn't see it, so I'm going to pretend like I don't know about it, because I want you to see that you can still do the proportion even if you don't notice those kinds of things. So, cross multiply. 15 times x is 15x. Bring down the equal sign. You have 2 times 450. 15x equals 2 times 450 is 900. And now you need to get x by itself. So you need to divide both sides by 15. So we have 900 divided by 15. 15 will not go into 9, but it will go into 90 6 times. 6 times 15 is 90. So you get 0, but you still have this extra 0. That goes straight up. And x equals 60. So, based on this bar graph, 10 of her kids out of 75 had a birthday in February. If you use that information, out of 450 kids, we can predict that 60 of them would have a birthday in February. All right, and number 3. Based on the information in the graph, in which 2 months are responsible for a combined 20% of the birthdays? Okay, well, 20%. Do we have any percents over here? No, we don't have any percents. So, we could turn all of these into percents and figure out what percents they are, or we could turn 20% into a number of students. We want to know what 20% of the birthdays are. Well, we can figure that out by turning that into just the number of students. 20% of the total. The total is 75. So let's find out how many students that would be. Decimal method, you move your decimal 2 times to the left, and of means multiply. So you have 75 times 0.2. 2 times 5 is 10, 2 times 7 is 14, plus 1 is 15. You have one number behind the decimal in the problem, so 1 in the answer. So that means 20% equals 15 students. So, based on the information in the graph, in which 2 months are responsible for a combined 15 students? So we need to know something plus something else, it says 2, would equal 15. Let's look at our choices. 16, no. 18 and 15, no. Those are all too big. So we have to look at these 3. Okay, 10 and 5. There we go. 10 plus 5 equals 15. What months are those? February and May. So our answer is just February plus May. Those 2 months add up to 15 students, which is equal to 20% of the birthdays.